Welcome everybody. Tanya. Tanya on Yud Tes Kislev. What an incredible feat. Okay, we were waiting for a few people, but okay, I'm just checking if you're going to that side. Yay! Thank you. I was like, okay, we're waiting. Thank you so much. Thank you. Save the day. Baruch Hashem. Exactly. Okay, perfect. Now that we're here, we are up to we're up to chapters 26 through 34, right? Tools for Simcha. Is that what we answered up to? I thought she was telling me. Does anyone have their answers in their book? I don't. I didn't write my answers in my book because I already have the answers in my book. Okay, I'm pretty sure if someone can confirm this, that we're up to chapter 36 through 34. 26 through 34. Yeah, that sounds right. Which means question number 98. 98? Yeah. Right? Do you remember? What? Question 98, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. You write your answers in. Which question? What was the last question we answered? I think we're up to 98.
97, yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Yay, I wasn't so off. AKA, I was not off. Okay, so the way that Chassidus starts this section is, Rabbi Chassidus starts this section is that this is a perfect system up until the point where, let me make sure that you can see me. Okay. Up until the point where it reaches our emotions and our imperfections. As we were saying, hi sugar. We are human. Exactly. So once that hits, then our whole system, it's kind of like having a beautifully created computer app or cell phone app in a faulty cell phone. Beautiful, but just doesn't quite work. So it is a perfect system, but sometimes our gallistic mentalities and our struggles between our souls and our depression and all these things get us down. So now the Alter Rebbe says it's kind of like a troubleshooting section. It's like, if things aren't working, it might be because of A, B, C, D, or E. And not only that, but it's really important, I find it for myself, that I learn these chapters when I don't need them. Because if I'm learning them when I do need them, you don't always want to hear it. Tis a struggle. So we're going to go through it, and hopefully we're going to make mental, because Mitzvah Hashem at the table right now and online right now, no one needs them, especially no one in the world. Hashem, no one in the world should need these things. But that said, if we make the mental struggle, we stick them in our pockets, if Chas v'Shalom we were to need them, at least we'll have them. Does that make sense? Okay. Question number 98. What is the metaphor that the Alter Rebbe gives about the two wrestlers?
One wrestler. Is it that one is strong and the other one is bad?
Okay, yes. One is stronger, the other one is technically faster. Exactly. But you're right about the bad mood. So technically you would assume that the faster one would win. The faster one would win. But what happens if the faster one is in a bad mood?
Wait, not so fast. He won't be so fast.
Exactly. So two wrestlers, one is strong and one is fit. Sorry, one is strong, fit, and one is weak. But the strong one is weak because of his emotional situation.
You just said the fast one.
Fast, okay.
Yeah, one is.
If the stronger, if the faster, stronger, if the most well-equipped contendant is in a down mood, in a bad position emotionally, he is going to lose. Does that clarify?
Yeah.
So if this is so, what is this metaphor's significance for us?
We can't achieve our potential.
Correct.
Simcha.
We can't achieve our potential if we're struggling. We can't be working at our best if we're struggling emotionally. Even if we have all the right tools, that's going to hold us down. It's going to pull us down.
No, I don't remember any of this. This is from the second CD, right?
Yeah, end of the second CD.
I didn't listen to
Think.
it this week.
No, that's probably
I
why.
listened to it twice or three
Think.
times.
Track number 12, I think.
No, I also did. I didn't answer those questions because I couldn't find.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I was like, am I just missing those stories?
That's so interesting. I'm pretty sure it's track 12. Okay, so what is the American approach to happiness?
Happiness is
And
a right.
more,
And what?
Materialism?
more things make you happy. External, no?
Yes, but like the founding fathers, the
Happiness is a right.
Pursuit, you have the
Happiness
right,
is happiness.
the right.
exactly.
But
It's a
only
right.
related to pursuit. That's the whole joke.
It's
That's what it
right.
always says. In America, you only have to pursue happiness. Not
Can't reach it. Yes, it is a right and a goal.
This I remember. Saying, like, but the other question. I'm not saying I would have been able to say it, but
Yeah. So let's flip it on its head. And now, what's the Torah's approach to happiness?
the way.
More than a way. It's an
Obligation.
obligation. It's an obligation and a means to a goal.
It's not the end.
It's not the end result. Yeah. And then you come and wonder. I'll let you guys write first, but come and wonder why so many people are hooked on drugs. If my goal is happiness,
I'm not happy.
aka
Also, that's
quit
the thing
drugs,
with, like,
happy, buy more stuff, happy.
It's like, I don't know, sometimes I think like breast milk gets stuck there. Maybe not the followers, but maybe everyone around. No, I'm saying like.
I guess so. It might be I don't know. I have a hard
or
time
maybe
because
they
I've
just focus with that.
learned breast of Chassidus and it's very similar to ours.
Um,
In essence, it is
but maybe
Just like what
maybe the
comes.
people that are hanging around, they're not learning.
the same way. Yeah,
Maybe they're not
that's
learning
possible.
at all. Maybe
They're
they're just dancing and singing.
That is possible. Okay, but does that make sense? For us, we need to be happy. We need to be happy because we need to get to an end result. And happiness is our method.
Happiness leads to the greatest of mitzvahs, and opposite could lead
To
to
the-
the worst of others.
Correct. Happiness leads to the greatest of mitzvahs, and the opposite could lead to the worst of mitzvahs. Exactly.
Of it.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, the worst of
Because
errors.
That's the
I
whole
didn't hear
thing.
what you said.
That being basimcha is not a mitzvah in and of itself,
Correct.
and being depressed is not an aver in itself, but it could lead you to the worst of errors.
Correct. So we have to realize that. I'm talking to myself because sometimes it's hard. It's so comfortable to just be like,
Stuck in it.
especially
Speak
like
wrong.
today. I'm
Affect you.
very sensitive to the sun. If
Me
the sun's
too.
not out,
Oh my god.
I'm just like,
The whole day I was like, "Mm,
it's life is so
The weather is
depressing.
killing
Yes,
me.
it is. So for me, it's hard. It's hard to see a gloomy day, and it's hard to get out of it.
I'm like,
And I realized like my davening was, and my day was, so I was like, okay, happiness, I have to remember, is not just, it's a must.
response.
Yeah, it's a must. I have to be proactively happy. Yet another shameless plug-in for the book Positivity Bias.
Which you can purchase.
I'm not plugging in for
Did I
me.
get
For
commission?
I don't. I actually don't get commission, but I did buy a ton of them, which they're in our other room.
I started reading it.
I do sell them for cheaper, but I don't get commission. Not by Hashem. I want people to read it. So anyway, my point is, it can be a choice. It is not just dependent on the sun, which I'm like telling myself. Okay, what are the three biggest material problems that are a source for depression?
Material problems.
Yeah, gashmiistic, like in our down to earth. Money,
Children.
family.
All the members.
That was priceless. Money, family, and
Health.
perfect. Money, family, and health. It's fine. We're all tired from a long day. Money, family, and health. Yes, and they can be stressful in all kinds of levels. It's funny. I even heard once someone stressed about having too much money.
No money, no problem.
Yeah, 'tis true. So again.
I don't mind taking. You want to
You're like, I'll take it out.
I'll help you with that. Oh my gosh, halvesies, yeah, exactly. Well, no, the struggle mainly is that it's hard to trust people because you feel like someone's always after your money.
That's true. Yeah.
It's hard to have like genuine relationships.
Yes.
So she wasn't saying like, oh, I don't want the money, but she was just saying it's have in mind. I was also reading a book about fundraising about how to keep in mind a funder's funder's perspective.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, you have to prove yourself that you're genuinely caring about that person, not just like, I want your check. I want your check, like, anyway. So yes, on all sides, Okay. What is another source for depression? Spiritual problems, exactly. Correct. Okay. So now, being that we live in this legalistic world, and the primary vision that we have in our world is our physical eyes and physical stuff. So the Alter Rebbe actually takes care of the material problems first. So 104. What is the lesson for us behind the story of the 5-year-old birthday boy who cried for getting a savings bond for a gift instead of a bike? Correct. He didn't appreciate what the savings bond represented. That is exactly it.
What's the lesson for us?
The lesson for us is that sometimes we're getting a greater joy, but we're not appreciating it. We're also the little boy or little girl crying and kicking and screaming.
What should we do? Be a bigger boy?
Be a big boy, exactly.
A bigger boy.
A bigger boy, yes, exactly. Be a bigger boy.
That's a great solution. I know now.
No, but really, for myself though, am I going this personal? Whatever. Over the summer, we had a whole series of health scares. It's very intense because in my family, we never, ever get sick, ever. We had never. My oldest is about to turn 7. We had never been to the ER, ever. And over over about close to 2 months, it was literally like every other week. And it reached the point where Arab Shabbos, or every week. It was like, first this child, first this, and the other one, then the other one reopened those stitches, and the other one burned, 2nd-degree burn, his entire arm. Then we had a house fire. 10 minutes later, that after calling 911, we had to call Atzala because the other kid fell. Like, it was insanity. Bottom line is, we my cut finger, his cut finger. Oh my gosh, yeah, my sliced piece of a thing. Anyway, it was a terrifying experience. And we realized that it had to do with a situation with a Rebbe dollar. Different story for a different time. Bottom line was that the first few times, it was really hard. Very, very hard and very terrifying as a mother. And one of those medical situations was actually my own. And it was very scary. That said, that night after I put my pillow, and I'm not saying this to be like, oh, yeah, but I'm telling you how to be a bigger girl. That night when I put my head on my pillow, I was crying. But I literally said to Hashem, I don't understand this, but I get how this is, for whatever reason, this is much greater for me. And I know that I can be sensitive to anyone else going through such an experience. And that was the last thought before I went to bed. The next morning, I still woke up very sad, but it was a very different maturity, I guess. So yes, we can kick and scream about like not getting our bike. At the same time, it's having that tool to know, okay, Hashem, I don't fully understand this, and I don't get how this is a savings bond that's going to end up being $5,000, $50,000, $500,000 by the end of the year.
Priceless for my neshama.
Priceless for my neshama, and priceless for all the neshamas I can help in such a situation. But the reality is that I get that you get it, and you must be giving me the greater gift. Does that make sense? And it's like, sucky pill to swallow. But
I don't mean to undermine you, but
no.
like how I wouldn't give the kid the saving bond. I wouldn't give it to them. So why
Why
would
Hashem
Hashem give us such a thing? I wouldn't give a kid a bike if I was saying like, no, I'm
I
serious.
hear you. That's a good question.
Like, why do we have to go through this whole like?
You're saying you would want to
I
give
guess
them
it's
something you could
go.
appreciate?
What?
You wouldn't give them the bond because you want to give them something you could appreciate
Because
now?
he'd be very happy with the bike. I don't know.
Right, but I'm saying there's also the level of
It's not a perfect muscle. That's why if we start actually taking apart the muscle, I always do this. My husband's like,
Right.
you're like
Yeah.
taking it apart because there's
Like
never
learning
a perfect
Gemara.
muscle. That's the, I'm like,
right.
I always tear them apart, and then like you're missing the point because there's no perfect muscle. But the
No,
point
but-
is
but
just
basically
that
the question is why they're good and good. That's the question.
Because it's a
Because
higher
right now,
good.
that's right.
Because we can't appreciate it. We don't have the sensitivity to appreciate Hashem's true essential
So-
guidance.
so
Like
why
for
is it
example,
there?
if, and this like stuff happens all the time. It's like, oh, this person happened to fall down and like hurt their leg. Oh, actually, it was just viral. This whole Jersey City shooting thing. Do you guys see the like voice note that was quite viral? This guy came and he came to this store at that particular time, like 5 minutes before or something, and he asked the store owner for coffee, and he's like, why am I selling you coffee? Like, you could just go to the shul across the street and get coffee for free. The store owner said that. So the store owner took him out and he left the store, and these two guys were in shul when the whole shooting happened. So could you say, oh, the dumb guy like wasted my time, I just wanted my coffee, why'd I have to take 10 extra minutes to go to the shul to get a free coffee? I could have just paid the $5 or the $1 for the regular coffee. But in the end, he didn't realize, but he saved his life. So like, we don't appreciate, we may have just taken a misstep, like hurt our ankle, but missed the car running past that like could have, you know what I mean? So like, we have immature vision to, it's sad, but like,
actually get to see those situations.
right. And like, it wouldn't be and not gullus in the bad sense, but gullus in the sense, gullus is always bad, but I'm saying in the sense of having that free choice to choose to see the Eibishter's hand in things, it wouldn't exist if the Eibishter just literally like miracles just like roll down the street. You know what I mean? We'd like take them for
But the
granted.
thing is, even if you choose to,
We can't always see.
I like what
But-
you said about the, like,
we
you
have
have a greater sensitivity to when you go through something bad, like maybe you had an illness or a health situation when you're younger that was really bad, and then when you come across other people with health situations, you have a greater sensitivity to it. Like, you could tell someone you should be kind to someone when they're going through this thing, but for you to go through it, it's like a greater refinement.
Correct.
You know? And you really
You become
feel
more
that,
sensitive.
Yeah.
You become more sensitive to yourself. You could also become more sensitive to your relationship with Hashem. And you can become more sensitive to others in similar situations. It's interesting. One time someone called me and she had a very, very, very hard tragedy. And I'd never been through such a thing, ever. And empathy, there's a difference between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is, oh, I'm so sorry, you poor thing. And I grew up in the South part of my life. How do they say it? How do they say it?
Bless your heart.
Bless her heart. Bless her heart. Bless your heart. Like, hi, thank you. Unhelpful. Thank you very much. Empathy is, even though I haven't been in such a situation to such an extent, or I couldn't possibly ever be in those exact same shoes, even if I went through a similar situation. What in my life can I relate to that has a certain similarity, not in the details, but in the feeling, in the way it made me feel, in the way it made me react, in the way it put me in a position, and how can I make that person feel understood? How can I make that person feel like I'm with them? Right? That comes not with perfect life all the time, not with Hashem giving you gifts all the time. It comes with hidden good. It's not revealed. If it were revealed, we would just eat ice cream and we wouldn't get depressed. Right? Like, life would just be great.
Guys for ghosts.
Yes, that is exactly
We're not gonna have it.
tip top. Exactly. Tanya is a guide for Gaulus. Exactly. Okay. Yeah. You see, I knew this is a very good topic to get into. Okay. So what is the difference between revealed good and concealed good?
It's just that. That's it. That's
Concealed good gives us the opportunity to like dig deeper.
It's
Why?
Because you have to choose to feel them in it as opposed to it just being shown in front of you.
Yes. And the source of that is because
Well, I said that concealed, but like you have to choose to see Hashem in it. As revealed, it's just obvious to you.
right. And the beauty in that is that when you're choosing to see Hashem in something higher, in something deeper, so to speak, you can also appreciate that it's coming from a higher place. It's like, for example, you know those discussions that you have with a good friend, whether she is your best friend at that point or this discussion leads you guys to be best friends. And like, for most people, it reaches a point, I call it the 2 a.m. mark, but like for tired mommies, it could be at 10:30. Right? So when like sudden something like changes, like it's like a click, like, oh, now we feel more comfortable. Now like, and the farbrenging, the discussion, the whatever you're doing just gets deeper and people just feel more comfortable, right? So like, if you have to really spend that quality time waiting till 2 a.m. to have that really quality discussion with someone, and it's so deep, it comes from a higher place. You have a deeper bond. Does that make sense? So struggles, as much as they're struggles and they're painful and they are terrible and Hashem should never give them to us, we don't ask for them. But when we get them, we realize that it's Hashem's deepest love. We stayed up till 2 a.m. hanging out with him. That's why we became friendsies, you know? Best buds.
toilet.
Yes, that. Okay. Does that make sense? I know it's a tough topic. I know this is why we need to talk about it. That's why I said I'm assuming no one at this table or that's listening to this year right now is dealing with struggles whatsoever. So this will be an easy conversation, but I know that it's not. So, okay. 106. What are our greatest priorities? Easy, feel good, greasy pizza life?
Yes.
Or harder challenges that bring us closer to Hashem, which he called the filet mignon.
Well, I do prefer filet mignon to greasy pizza. However, I would like it to be called feel good filet mignon. With French fries and truffle
With-
mayo. Please.
There we go.
Thank you very much.
Your order. It's ready.
Down.
Oh, man. Okay. That said,
Give me tiramisu.
yes, that would be delicious. That said, the real goal of us being here is not for easy peasy, greasy, whatever he called it.
Don't feel good.
It's not. That's not the goal.
Yeah.
That's why we started with this whole thing.
You say there are priorities that when you say priorities, we appreciate that, or
choosing that? What do you mean by what are ways
What
Meaning, what's really the point of life?
What's the point?
exactly?
Okay.
Yeah. What is our point in life? It's not the easy way out.
Not
And
to
let's
pass
just-
away, a person not to pass away the same immature teenager they were, or whatever, 5-year-old.
Correct. And that level of growth comes from challenges. I always say when my kids get old enough, it's like the hardest thing, but like it just is. When they get old enough to walk to not tall enough, I should correct that. Tall enough to not be able to walk under the table without bumping. It's so hard because I know they're about to bump their head. But I know if I protect them, next time I'm not going to be there, they're going to be running against it, right? So I just need to watch and let that happen and
And
But-
pretend you didn't see.
Yes, it's
And you,
like-
look around to see if anyone.
exactly. So
It doesn't hurt that. You say, like,
yeah, but let me give you an example, okay? We had many years ago, and none of you know them. We had neighbors in our building, and our building has a courtyard. In the courtyard on Shabbos, we have a eruv, so like all the kids come down and they play and da. One Shabbos afternoon, we saw these two parents with a toddler. I think he must have been early 2s, I would assume. So capable to walk and very capable to run. And he was running around like a crazy maniac. And my husband and I were watching. This is not a sugar story. My husband and I were watching and we were so interested why he's running with such force. Especially like, let's just put it this way. Our courtyard is made of pavement. This is Brooklyn. We're not talking soft green grass, right? It's not green. And we started realizing that every single time he was about to fall, parents came and swooped him up. Every single time he was about to hit something, parents came and swooped him up. And yes, nobody likes a skinned knee. Nobody likes a bump on the hands, right? No one likes these things. That said, we have to go through them in order for us to not run our heads into the building because we assume that someone's going to come catch us, right? We all went through struggles in life, and those struggles have made us who we are, hopefully for the most part in a good way. Yes, some of us do react to struggles in not a positive way, and then we need to talk to people or learn more Tanya or whatever. But the idea is that struggles are meant to teach you how to be stronger, how to be more mature, how to be more compassionate, empathetic, all of these good things. Does that make sense? So yes, if we were to get easy peasy, greasy, whatever pizza all day, we just wouldn't get anywhere in life. We wouldn't. We would still be kindergartners running fumbly down the street. Not even down the street. We'd have a mommy coming and chasing after us in our 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Does that make sense? So it's rough, and I'm like, woohoo, struggles! But like, there is a point to them. Does that make sense? And not only that, but going back to this particular question, our priorities aren't that the end result is happiness. Our priorities are the end result is connecting to Hashem. Happiness leads us to connect to Hashem, but the end result is always connecting to Hashem. So if struggles make us more sensitive, make us more godly, we don't ask for them. Chas v'shalom, we shouldn't ask for them. But when we get them, we say, I get it. Here's the time when I need to turn to Hashem. Next question we just answered, but do we ask for tests in life? Nope. Once they do come, these struggles, what should be our approach to them?
To see the innate wounds and the innate patient, and you could approach it as something that's like lifting you up higher instead of going in the opposite direction where you're trying to go.
Correct. You can see, you're supposed to see the innate holiness in them and how I'm just trying to make sure, how they're helping us and push us higher. What was the last part?
Instead of standing and pushing us in the like opposite direction. where we're
Instead
trying
of
to go.
standing and pushing us in the opposite direction. Yes, exactly. Yep. We could see it that we don't want concealed good, but if this is what you gave us or what you gave me, then let's do it. Do you see how this flips depression on its head? One of the biggest depressive thoughts that people go through is I'm alone. At this point in my struggle, I am alone. That gets destroyed because are you alone? Hashem's with you. Hashem's the one that made the situation. And if you can really take that next step and say, okay, Hashem, you're with me and you made the situation, which means this must be a bond instead of a bike. I will appreciate the $500,000 that comes after this situation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I want to look into that.
Yeah.
Like, besides for that, the other idea that brings us down so many times in life is that this shouldn't be happening to me.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I can't handle this. This shouldn't be happening to me. Which this equally squashes that.
Yeah, correct. The idea that this shouldn't be happening to me. It's so true. It's one of the most debilitating thoughts. This shouldn't have happened. This shouldn't be happening. Yeah. And the Eibishter is the one running the world. So therefore, of course, everything's about this, and this should be happening. And it takes you to the next level of saying, okay, now what am I supposed to be gaining from this? What am I supposed to be growing from this? What am I supposed to be helping someone else with this? So, yeah, that's very powerful. Any more questions on the material aspects? Does that make sense how it fits within, what were the three we did? Money, health, and family? Right? I remember someone, who was it? Now I remember. We had a meeting and it was really funny. Someone double parked and she just left her car there. So she said, it's a gamble. If Hashem wants me to have the $45 of not getting a ticket, so he'll make sure I don't get a ticket. If he wants me to give the ticket, it means I wasn't meant to have those $45 and I just paid for parking. So it was really funny. In the end, she didn't get a ticket. And she was like, you see, Hashem took care of me. We're doing good things. What? Did not. She did not have a ticket.
Like, I don't have anything to lose. Like, if I get the ticket, I don't have that money.
Exactly.
That money will go somewhere else. So, like.
Right. So it was just I was like, I'd never seen such a perspective. And I'm like, all right, I hear that. Makes sense. Anyway, it was very funny. Okay. Now, let's skedaddle onto spiritual problems, especially on such a holy, holy day. Let's talk about some spiritual problems. I love this one. 109. Not you, no one in this room or watching online. Someone did something wrong and you feel, no, I'm kidding. And that person feels guilty. Now what?
Make an appointment tonight.
I love it.
And
you guys,
and you know what? He's not gonna show up.
He's not gonna show up. Exactly. Can you guys?
He said.
Can I leave this?
Try
I was gonna say, can I leave this as homework? Can you please just try it? I mean, no one's gonna do anything wrong between this week and next week. Chas v'shalom. No such thing. But if chas v'shalom, someone happens to do something that they're not so proud of, make the appointment. I've done it. It's so fun. I go on my phone. I'm like, okay, if my phone's on, so there's one discussion. I go on my phone. I'm like, okay, tonight, the kids will be asleep. I'll be ready for bed. Okay, fine. 8:45 or something. And I get there. I'm like, oh, what was I depressed about? Like, does not matter. Why? Because it's not there to push me down right then and there. Does that make sense? Meanwhile, when I don't set the appointment, I call my husband. I'm like, I already messed this thing up. This also actually happens to be a material problem. I already messed up the cooking for Shabbos. I'd say I'm finished the whole afternoon. Erev Shabbos, Yitzhahara. But anyway, the appointment really works for everything. It's really proud. It's really an incredible thing.
Yeah, that. He's like, try. See if he shows up.
Yes. Okay, 110.
But even if he does show up, it's not gonna be like a depressive situation. It's gonna be like, how am I gonna be able
Well,
to
how am I gonna
handle
be
it
able to-
better?
Yes, that is exactly it. Even if he does show up, by that point, you're in a different place and you're having a conversation about how can I do this differently next time. It's so good.
So good.
It is so good.
And those can be really awesome moments.
Yes, especially if done with, not necessarily just with someone, but with someone who you can like really, even if it's a roommate, must be a husband, friend, whatever. Sometimes it like pulls out a whole other level other than your own self-thinking. Like, oh yeah. Even if the other person doesn't say much. I've had this before. I'm like, oh,
That's not a
great.
good listener.
Exactly.
And you have all the answers.
Yes, that is exactly it. So for me,
That's
it
when
usually
tells you
helps.
what to do.
Thank you for being here to listen. I just came up with
Yes, amazing thing.
Earlier, I was telling my sister to ask her about something, what she suggests about something, and as she hardly spoke, and I was like, oh, never mind.
Thank you. By the way, I took life coach training last year, and most of the training is just ask the right questions, but just let the person speak. 99% of the time, they have their own answers, and they just need that structure of having someone there to listen. And most of the time, we just had to practice listening. It was so much fun. Anyway, it's very hard sometimes to sit on your hands and be like, well, I know the answer to all your problems.
And actually be listening.
Yes,
Because
being
if you're
present
actually
in the
just
moment.
holding your mouth shut and thinking about things you want to say, you're not actually listening.
Correct. That is exactly it.
That's a really hard thing to do.
Yes,
Not
it
be
is.
like, wait, I don't want to forget this thing, or I want to say la 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 la. In the meantime, you totally missed everything.
And everything. Yep, 100%. Okay. Okay, what does Yitzhar do when we feel bad about something we do?
Hey, you screwed up already. Just screw up some more.
I thought you were saying no like me. Yes, exactly. It gets us on a cycle of negativity. It's like,
You're already bad.
yep.
And the easiest examples with food, although I really am not into that way of thinking about food, but that's the example.
Oh,
we'll
for me,
always
it's
say.
cooking. The moment I mess one thing up in cooking, my whole,
Are you kidding?
That's
are you
me.
Are you like a recipe follower?
I am very much a recipe follower. Look at those eyes. What the bulge out. Yes, I am.
There
And
are
Erev Shabbos
people
is
in the
so
world.
hard. It is so
Oh
hard.
my gosh.
If I get one recipe wrong, the rest of my Shabbos cooking just like, it's a struggle.
What do you mean?
You should have seen my dip. I messed up a dip this week.
You're kidding me.
No, we'll have my therapy later.
Okay, we're gonna have to talk about this.
Okay.
Go back and then, like,
No,
just
no,
shuffle the steps and then do
I-
whatever you're ordering.
I messed up the whole dip. My husband came and I was just so depressed. That's it, I can't cook anything else. It was so bad because I was the dip I was so excited for. I was like,
We
oh,
can
try
all
this
relate to
new
that
dip.
feeling. Just,
Not necessarily with cooking, yes.
but
Yes.
I'm saying it's all the same. Like, that's it. Like, it's.
It was so gross. It was so sad.
I mean,
Okay, 111. How does that turn into a negative spiral cycle?
How?
Yes.
The way we just described.
Really disengaging more.
Yes, disengaging more.
Yeah.
You do, not you, someone does something bad and then they feel guilty. Then they feel guilty, so they're like, ugh, I don't care to even fight this battle against my Yitzhar anymore. I'm just going to indulge in whatever is the next bad thing. Then you do something else that's bad, and then you feel even more guilty. And Yitzhar's like, oh, look at you. Now you did it twice. And you're like, okay, that's it. I'm finished. I'm just not. And then it's and then you wake up the next day in a really bad place. Okay. 112. If you hear a voice in your head which says, hey, you did something bad, let's talk about it. What do you tell that voice?
Sure, let's talk about it later.
Yes, I'll meet you tonight at insert whatever time you choose. Try not to make it too late because then the HR really has more control.
If it's like way past your bedtime.
Yes, way past your bedtime. Okay, 113. Does that voice usually show up at the appointed time?
No.
Nope. And if it does, as we said earlier, you're in a much better place to handle it. Okay. Oh, there you go. That's the next question. 114. If it does show up, then what do you do? Oh, sorry. What? Yes, but this is one of my favorite concepts in Judaism, period. Okay? If Chas v'shalom, we did something wrong, and we're trying to do tshuva, everyone's, oh, tshuva, I'm going to sit there. I deal with this all Elul.
Yeah.
Exactly, the whole Elul. That's why we do a whole 60 days program, because I'm like, so many people have a depressing Elul, and it's so sad. What's tshuva? Is tshuva thinking and refocusing on every single, let's make a list of every single thing I did, and let's just like dwell on it, so I can punish myself to teach myself a lesson. Don't raise your hand, but I know many of us have gone through that.
It's return, but return to what? Are you returning to your sins, or are you?
Oh, interesting. Are you turning to your sins, or are you turning to Hashem? Very, very interesting. Okay, so now find a friend, parent, mother, husband, whatever. Next time you feel like you stuck your foot in your mouth, or next time you feel like you disappointed that person, instead of thinking, and again, I'm talking to myself, instead of thinking, I am such a terrible person, look how much I hurt their feelings, take a moment and say, I need to think about how great they are. Do not take that thought about you. Completely turn your thoughts about that person. How amazing they are. They're such an incredible friend. Take such good care of me. Answer my phone call when I'm crying at 11 o'clock at night. They raised me for so many years, etc., etc. They are an incredible father, an incredible husband.
My diaper.
Okay,
So
we
diaper
switched on the husband thing. I was like, oh, right.
He's a father.
I just said husband, but I mean, I was thinking about my husband as a father to my children, and then you went on the diaper, and I'm like, okay, awkward. But anyway, take that turn and change your thoughts about, and make them fully focused on that person. And you'll see that your apology will be more genuine. It's not self-serving, I feel so terrible. It's, wow, you're so great, you deserve better. And that makes that person feel so special, so cared for, so present in that relationship with you. Complete game changer.
Meaning it really brings your relationship to like a higher place.
Correct. It brings your relationship to a higher place. It rebonds in a much tighter way. And it's very interesting. I've noticed it mostly with my husband, but that's when I learned the most. But when I do mess up, and it happens, I'm not so
I'm trying to make it out here normal.
Exactly. I'll make sure not to prove that I'm normal. So when it does happen, and it does happen, the moment I start getting deprecating, he goes, this is not about you. I mean, he says it in a nice way, but like, it's a reminder of like, now you're just going in this negative spiral of self.
And if you're such an idiot, then like, if you're
Thank you, Chava.
No, if you're so bad, then like, you're not making the other person feel better. Cause like, I'm married to like,
yes.
to like a nephew.
Yes.
It's not healthy for anybody.
It is
for them
not.
to hear you like saying all these bad things about yourself.
Correct.
Either way.
It is not healthy on either side. It is not healthy for them to hear that either.
Like,
So again, this is huge. If you can do it with a real human being, with a human being, take away the word real. If you can do it with a human being, if you do it with a human being, how much more so it works out your muscle to do it with the Eibishter. This is how we need to turn to the Eibishter. This is Elul. Elul is, and this is all day, every day, I'm saying, but for a lot of people, Elul is this negative, depressive state. Elul is, wow, the Eibishter is so great. How can I turn to him and be closer to him? Am I perfect? No. I've messed them up. I've slapped them in the face, and I've done very nasty things. But you know what? Now I want to be better. Because why? Because he's so great. He has taken care of me with this, and he has taken care of me with that. And look, right now he's in the field, and he's with us, and he's da-da-da. Right? It's a total focus of all about that other person. Does that make sense? Huge.
And that's inspiring as opposed to depressing.
Correct. That is inspiring as opposed to depressing, and that is a huge chiddush in Judaism, but how much more so specifically hides the Tanya. Does that make sense? Massive. Okay. Yeah, so meditate on the greatness of Hashem, to whom you have sinned. Okay, 115. Why is this method better than contemplating on the sin?
Because it's inspiring as opposed to depressing.
Correct. Correct. It's inspiring as opposed to depressing. What did you say, Hannah? Yes, it moves you in a forward direction. And not only that, but remember what we said in the beginning. It works to rebuild a connection. How many garments do we have? 3. What are they? Correct. What are you using one of your garments for? The thought garment. What are you using it for? You are reliving this terrible thing. So every moment that you're choosing to think through, oh, I did it like this, and I mixed the spoon over there, and it was a milk spoon and a fleshig thing, and I just mixed it. Now you're spending all those thoughts in a negative thing. Does that make sense? Nished, finished.
Or like I yelled.
Yeah, I yelled, I did whatever.
It's just like a scene replaying again and again.
Yes, exactly. And what happens is now you're using that garment in a not positive way. You need to change that. You need to say and turn back, even if it's our kids. Oh, I messed up with my kids. Wow, my kids are so amazing. They're such tzaddikim. They're such, take such good care of each other. No, we already dealt with that. Right. Okay. Okay, 116. How do we end our appointment? With joy. Exactly. With joy. We have to make sure to end up our appointment with joy. If not, it's coming from the Yitzhar. Okay. What is the difference between guilt, chapter 26, and shame, chapter 27? This is a good one.
Guilt is just dwelling on the past, and it makes you feel bad and brings you down.
Mm-hmm.
Shame is like propelling you, like it's in like a not. It propels you to like try to be better as opposed to like. No, it's not.
Shame?
I feel like
No, they're both no.
Shame
Shame is
is you are.
Yeah, it's attaching
Correct.
Sorry,
you.
no. Shame.
Correct. Say it again, Hannah.
Guilt that you did something bad and shame that you are bad.
Correct.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, no. Both.
So guilt is that you did something bad, not you. Someone did something bad.
Yeah.
And shame is you are bad. Dangerous stuff. Once your self-worth goes in the question, that is dangerous stuff.
Wait, so guilt is better than shame.
Correct. Guilt is better than shame.
You know what? I was confusing this with depression versus.
This is bitterness. Yes,
With
melancholy, bitterness, whatever.
Sorry.
Whatever is the yeah. No, but that was the right answer for that question. For the wrong question, yeah. Okay, so guilt is feeling bad for what you did, or you did something bad. Shame is you are bad. Big deal. Chapter 27, dealing with shame. How does shame play out in our lives?
Fulfilling prophecy.
Yes. And it ends up being that you feel like you're a bad person for having bad thoughts or for having bad desires. The negativity starts to define who you are. It's very, shame plays out in many different ways, but this is, 119. Are we ever allowed to be sad, and why?
Like, you can be sad if it's going to cause you to do tshuva. Like, you have to know that you did something wrong and want to be better.
Okay. Yes-ish. There's a slippery slope with sad. That's what we were discussing about Atzvos and mirrors, like the aspect of depression versus that desire to change and do something differently. That said, it doesn't usually define itself as sad. It usually defines itself as, let's say, yes, discontent, dissatisfied, right? Because you are trying to achieve more. You're going from this not great place to something greater,
Sad
right?
on the-
Sad,
is on the way to depression.
yeah, it's like a,
It's pointing downward, like it's not pointing up.
exactly.
Okay.
So the answer is, to sad is no, we are not. We're never allowed to be sad. Why is that? Because it makes us sloppy. Our avodas Hashem goes out the window. It's very interesting because I've noticed over the years that different people have different reactions to struggles. Some people turn right away to Hashem, and other people turn away from Hashem. Right? It's very interesting. And either or, the struggle isn't what makes the difference. It's that person's reaction to the struggle. If the person's reaction to the struggle is sad, then it leads to, I'm alone, this is bad, Hashem has left me, right? These are the usual. If the reaction to that struggle is, what can I do to help change? That's when we proactively turn to Hashem, right? I'm stuck, I'm sad, what can I do to change? Very different outcomes. Does that make sense? Okay. Are we ever allowed to be sad for holy excuses? No. If a person were to say, I have a reason to feel shame and sad because of hardships in spirituality, what does the Alter Rebbe answer such a comment? I was like, we're not quite at that section yet, but
Right answer.
the right answer for the wrong question, exactly. Right, just not for this question, but yes. Yes, so the way he put it was, don't stray after your eyes and after your heart. You never have a reason to be sad or ashamed. And if this is your hardship, so we work on it. Sad is stuck. Shame is stuck. Shame is dark, gross place. And the beauty in this whole, I guess we'll call it shame resilience, how to get out of shame, is that the entire basis of this definition is that we're holy beings. We can't be bad. We make bad decisions. We have negative desires. We have contradicting, thoughts at the same time. But you're a holy being that is meant to be connected to Hashem even stronger, even better. Does that make sense? So therefore, when we go to the next question, what does the Rebbe answer the young man who was engaged to a non-Jewish woman? Yes. Because why?
He didn't have that chance to face that challenge.
Every challenge comes with a certain power. So if he was given that challenge, he had a certain power, and they're saying, I don't have that.
Yes, not just to overcome it, but through that overcoming, he's getting a closer relationship with Hashem. It's like Rabbi, if I remember correctly, Rabbi Akiva asked, he would ask for opportunities for Mesiras Nefesh. I mean, he got a very intense opportunity for Mesiras Nefesh, but
And that's how he passed away.
right,
Really.
very, very Mesiras Nefesh, Rabbi Akiva. But that level of bond, that level of connection that comes from a struggle that you overcome, there's nothing like it. And the Rebbe's perspective on this wasn't, shame on you, Nebuch, you couldn't hold yourself back. Like, come on, it's a non-Jewish girl. Like, what are you talking? No way.
He's human. Hashem gave him the struggle.
Right, and it's not even just human. He uplifted him. He uplifted him from the essence. This challenge shows how amazingly strong you are. This challenge shows how deep of a connection you can have with Hashem. That the Rebbe himself, Nasi Ador, he himself says, I don't have that. I'm not capable of having such a thing. That's incredible. That's incredible. Okay. Okay. What is the lesson? No, sorry. What lesson do we learn from the story? And the Rebbe's answer: don't be ashamed of being imperfect. Ah, I love this. Cherished opportunity. And you can still do perfect, even if inside you're not feeling it yet. $124. Why did the Alter Rebbe say Halavai Beinani, quoted in this chapter?
So like there's such a big shock. I don't know. Like he's complaining
About not being a tzaddik.
Right.
He's complaining that he's not a tzaddik, and so the Alter Rebbe says, let's strive for at least Beinani. Like, let's get to Beinani, and then we can complain about being a tzaddik. So we can't have unrealistic expectations for ourselves. I have thoughts that stray me away. Mazel tov, you're human. Like you're working towards being a Beinani, right? Where you can't complain that we're not tzaddikim. Does that make sense? Now, how do people wrongly interpret these words? Exactly. Tanya is not for today. It's not for us. It's not for anyone. Because Halavai Beinani, we can't even reach being a Beinani.
Yeah, but it's not that safe for tzaddik.
Right. But what it's saying is, people assume that being that this line, Halavai Beinani, you're like, oh, Halavai, you'll reach being a Beinani. It means like, oh, just chuck the whole book out.
It's a line in chapter 27, but meanwhile, on the front cover, it says keep her away from you.
Exactly. It's so near onto you.
That's like, forget about that.
Right. So you have to understand the context in which that line is said. Now that we do, now we know that Tanya is relevant to us right here, right now. Okay, what is our lesson from here? That we can all be Beinanim. Literally, every single one of us in this room and every single one of us who's not in this room can all do it. We can. And how are we going to do it? With the help of Tanya.
One minute.
Yes.
No, I'm saying, otherwise it sounds a little bit too much.
Right. But it is. That is one step at a time. Okay. What to do when we can't daven? 127. What is the Alter Rebbe's approach to struggles with davening? I love this flip.
Oh, that means you're fabulous.
Yeah.
It's when the-
Something's right with you. Mazel tov. Something is right with you. I love it. It's like the Alter Rebbe just. That means you're fabulous. I wonder how that would be said in Lashon HaKodesh. Fabulous. What is the cause of a struggle in davening?
That you're achieving like a high place, and so it's like trying to like come and like
Right.
it's getting jealous.
Yes, it's getting threatened from the fact that you're doing so well. I always notice it. I'm like, oh, I say morning brachas and I get so excited, and then I eat breakfast, and then things get hard. Like to pick that sitter back up after morning brachas is a struggle. Once I get past Baruch Shamar, I'm like, all right, I got you, Yitzhahara. We can do this. We can battle this one out. But like it's a struggle. It's a struggle. But I love that turn. It's like, okay, I'm struggling davening. Great, I'm doing a wonderful job. Like, awesome. Which, by the way, works with a lot of different things, not just davening, you should realize. Okay, 29, I'm meditating and I don't feel it. Okay, I'm going to read the thing that, yes, it's in there, underlined. The Rebbe very clearly said we don't always practice this chapter in our time/generation. That said, we'll learn about it anyway.
We
129.
don't, meaning we shouldn't?
Correct. We are descendants of, there's a whole concept in Chassidus, but also in general, that your parents, grandparents, and all of this history is passed down, embedded in your DNA in a certain sense. So we have struggled with so much, even the most recent, just the Holocaust. Like, we have gone through so much that at this point, we're not in a generation that can really handle self-crushing. We've been so oppressed by everything in our lives. Even now, I mean, we live in New York. If you don't, I saw it. We were trying to park, and someone was like trying to sneak his car into the parking spot. It's like, hello, people, like a little menschlichkeit, but whatever. Anyway, so my point is, we're dealing with so much that like self-breaking, it's not for us anymore. What could be the cause for someone to not be getting inspired by or feeling the meditation? Coarseness or arrogance. What's the solution to that?
Breaking it and splintering.
Correct. Breaking it down and splintering it like a log to catch a fire. $131. Why does the Rebbe advise us not to necessarily do this in our generation? Correct. Because breaking method might be too intense for our generation. We may not be able to get ourselves out of it in a positive light. So if we're going to skip this brutal self-examination and making sure that we break our entire arrogance and la 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 la, where do we continue to? Since we're skipping it, what should we do instead? Yes, building up, go out into joy. Okay, 30. Humility, the struggle is a good thing. 133, it is not about performance, but rather it is about effort. 134, should we be ashamed of our struggles within?
No.
No, why?
I'm pregnant with twins.
Yes, that. Well, why should we not be ashamed of it?
Why should I be? Because that's not. What do you?
Correct. It's through that struggle that we build that bond with Hashem.
And it's like, it's not our fault.
But also, I think.
Right, but I'm saying how much more so it like builds your relationship with Hashem every single time there's a struggle and you say, okay, Hashem, I see you, I'm here with you, thank you so much for being here with me, it builds that relationship. That struggle is precious to Hashem. Once I learned that in Tanya, it made such a life difference. I don't have to be perfect because Hashem appreciates my struggle. I just have to try hard.
Which
Right?
is not easy.
No, but at least it's not self-deprecating because oh my gosh, I'm so terrible because like I didn't daven for the past month. Does that make sense? Hashem appreciates the fact that I struggled and at least I tried to daven. I tried. And even if I didn't try, I know he thinks like he knows I wanted to. Right? And that gets us out as opposed to, oh, I'm so terrible. I'm like not a chassid anymore. Right? I didn't go to farbrenging in a year. Like, whatever. Okay. 135. How should we look at someone who is at a lower level than us and struggling? Yes. Say it one more time.
You have a greater opportunity to connect. The same with Alter Rebbe.
Yes, they have a greater opportunity to connect. The same way as the Rebbe looked at that guy who was engaged to the non-Jewish girl. Yes. And not only that, but we don't. Hashem is looking. Yeah, it is our Rebbe. Hashem is looking for our effort, and we don't know how much effort that person is putting. They may not be at a higher place, but they may be putting all that effort, and that's what counts for Hashem. So it's a beautiful thing.
Dip turned out gross apparently, but she worked
I
so
did.
hard.
Thank you for making that so practical in my life. Yes, Hashem appreciates my effort in the dip. It's a good one. I'm gonna have to deal with that. Okay. Okay. 136. Chapter 31. Identifying with Nefesh Elikis. Tzaddik is a transparent conduit to Nefesh Elikis. So when he says, "I want," who is the I? For a tzaddik, who's the I for Nefesh Elikis? Who's his I? When he says, "I want," he's a tzaddik. The godly soul. Correct. Nefesh Elikis. Because his godly soul, remember we defined it, he either turned it over or he has full control over his Nefesh Bahamas, right? So it's full godly soul. 137, try to identify with the Nefesh Elikis. When we struggle, who should we try to identify? I think I just... Oh, with. Yeah, I know. I think I just gave the answer in the question. Sorry. Oops. Yes, that is the answer. Anyway, put your finger over that part. When we struggle, who should we try to identify with? Our Nefesh Elikis. That is exactly it. 138. What happens when we identify with a Nefesh Elikis? Yes. Remember? Yes, we make godly decisions, and who gets annoyed about it? The Nefesh Bahamas. And we just feel bad for him, her, it. Because it. Right? Because just like we said about davening, once your davening is struggling, you're like, oh, I hear you, because I'm doing great. Yay! Right? So here we're identifying with a Nefesh Elikis. We're doing wonderful things. Now I see why you're getting annoyed. Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm still going to continue identifying with a Nefesh Elikis. Does that make sense? Who do I want to be affiliated with? The answer is pretty much the same over this entire chapter. It's not so hard. We can do this, guys.
Keep repeating the same thing.
Yes, exactly. Nefesh Elikis, Nefesh Elikis, Nefesh Elikis, and Nefesh Elikis. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Okay. So now, if we take some time over this week to do, I have a few homeworks. Homework number 1, if Chas v'shalom, for whatever reason, someone feels like they're struggling with a material aspect in their lives, take a moment and say, is this the bike or the bond? Even if I don't understand this, it's possible that there could be something greater about this, right? So that's number 1. Homework number 2.
Wait.
Then you'll post it. Such nice handwriting. You're a mommy. Once my mommy became a mommy, she had nice handwriting. Once I became a mommy, I got nice handwriting. It's so weird. I don't know why. I have no idea. It just happened. Okay, so that's the first one. If we struggle with something material over this week, take a moment to say, okay, is this a bike or is this a bond? Is there anything I can appreciate that's from a higher level, that there could be something I'm gaining more from, right? Now, if we reach a point when we are struggling with something spiritually, take that moment and say, okay, I'll make an appointment. Make it, please. If you come next week and you say, Michal, I made the appointment and this is what happened, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll be very happy. I'm sure you will too.
What was the second thing?
If a spiritual struggle comes,
Yes.
The second thing?
If your spiritual struggle comes,
make
that appointment. Make it. Grab your phone right then. Trust me, you don't need to go too far. I'm sure we all have our phones with our arms reach at all times. Grab your phone. You can do it. Set an appointment for whatever time. It's not too late, not too early. And say, okay, meet with Yetzer Hara. Then, okay. Last thing is, when that struggle comes, how are you identifying? Take a moment. Am I bad? Or did I do something wrong? Because once you realize how you self-talk, then you can realize which chapter in Tanya you can get your answers from.
Wait, this is already one
Not only
if we
am I
messed
bad,
up,
am I
right?
Yes.
not only am I bad or did I do something wrong, but also who did I wrong?
Yeah, so that's the next level. That's the next level. That's the next level. Level number 1 is, did I do something wrong? What?
No, am I,
What was the third thing?
That if Chas v'shalom, we make a mistake, am I telling my self-talk, is it, did I messed up, or I'm a bad person?
Wow, so much homework.
I know the struggles.
I think one thing.
That's fine. Pick whichever one. Just do at least one of them. Okay, does that make sense? Awesome. Okay. Now, next week, even more homework. CD3.
so we did.
Pretty please cherry on top.
Repeat again the thing about, like, when you're trying to do children.
Oh, to turn, yes, that's what you said. About if, when you have that meeting, when you have that appointment, or at any point in time, and there's a mess up, either with another human being or with Hashem, we say, okay, I shouldn't think about how bad I am and how bad I
Right,
did, but
sin
who did I
against?
sin against?
Yeah, that's
Who
what
did
I-
I, and think about that
But
person.
wait, what was
Or
the
that
last
Hashem.
question? Sorry.
That what you
The
just
other
said.
2 things, sorry. There was, you first just said 2 things. Am I bad or did I do
I don't know, but I'm a little late.
Meeting.
You'll ask Hava, she'll post it, we'll ask her.
Ah,
Okay, last closing thoughts about Yud Tes Kislev, because it is the Alter Rebbe. Every single time it says that when you learn Tanya, the Alter Rebbe is having a chavrusa with you. Right now, the Alter Rebbe on Yud Tes Kislev literally sat with us, farbrenged with us, gave us guidance. So I wanted to share something really beautiful. Last year came out so when the Alter Rebbe got what was put in prison and had to go to court and have the arguments and battle and back and forth. So when it started, it was simple questions. What's your name? Where do you come from? So all those he answered in Russian. Once they started asking questions, which were more complicated, more theological about Chassidus and what is the difference, because basically they were very nervous of a lot of different religious groups. Yeah, Kasha, pass it around. A lot of religious groups that were going against the Russian government. So they thought, or according to the Misnagdim, they were told that Chassidism is another one of these types. And not only that, but they're sending money to the Ottoman Empire. So they wanted to find out, what's the essence of this Chassidus? What's the difference? What is the you Jew, what's the difference? Why do you guys fight? So they start asking all these questions about theories. What is Chassidus? What makes the difference between yours and his and da da da? So once that happened, the Alter Rebbe said that I'm going to need a translator because it has to be done properly. I can't answer in Russian. So what the Alter Rebbe did is he wrote a letter called a deposition of exactly how he would answer each one of those questions in a full, long letter. Last year, I don't know if it was done before, but last year my husband found this incredible gem. They translated it, loosely translated, free translation. Obviously, you can't check it with the Alter Rebbe, but they translated
What language is it in Hebrew or Yiddish?
Hebrew, Lashon HaKodesh. They translated it into English. So last year, my husband and I, mostly my husband, but he would share like fun tidbits with me. He went through the entire thing. And it was so powerful to hear the Alter Rebbe answer questions about what is the difference with Chassidus. So just to give a tidbit of information, at that point in time, many of the I was going to say Rabbanim, but like not Rabbanim in the sense of like, but the leaders of the community, Rabbanim, were essentially kind of bought out. There was an organization, I forgot what it's called, Arba, Rabbe, blah, 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 I forgot what it's called. But this organization used to be in charge of appointing Rabbanim for each community in Russia. So if these people paid enough money, they got the position. So what would happen was that the people in powerful positions in many communities weren't really the most God-fearing human beings. And if you're not so God-fearing, you may not be able to answer this, but what's usually the thing that goes out the quickest? What's usually the thing that's the hardest for someone who's not focused on Hashem, but it's focused on self? What's the thing that you can very easily gain? Torah knowledge. Torah knowledge is very good for us. The more we learn, the smarter we feel, the more we have intellectual power over other people. Davening, on the other hand, slowly went out the window. Because davening is not about me. I can't be people don't usually pride themselves on, I'm a better davener than you. Because davening is about me. It's about me turning to Hashem. Okay. All right. So if we have that in mind, most people in those job positions ended up giving up their davening and learning more. So davening became shorter, davening became more shvach. So what the Alter Rebbe did was he said, the main difference between, surprise, the main difference between Chassidim and non-Chassidim is that Chassidim are so focused on the Eibusher that we focus on our davening. And this whole letter went to describe the beauty in davening as Chassidim. And it's so interesting because now our big thing is, what's our main difference? We have Chabad Chassidus. It's a level of Torah learning. But that Chabad Chassidus was built in order to give us more of an appreciation to be able to daven better. So now, I want to inspire, and again, I said this would be short and sweet, and our husbands have to go. So I want to, sorry guys. Oh, hi. Okay. Hi.
You didn't know she was coming?
Well,
I didn't tell you.
no. Okay. Wow, this is amazing. Welcome. Okay. So the point I was trying to finish off with before I was so happily surprised is that we need to go back to basics. What is Yud Tes Kislev about? Yes, it's learning more Chassidus. Yes, it's connecting to the Eibush. Yes, it's connecting to Alter Rebbe. Yes, it's being more Chassidish and more all of these good things and eating kasha. There's plenty of kasha. Please pass it around. All those good things. But really, what did the Alter Rebbe connect Yud Tes Kislev with? Davening. Davening in a way that connects us to the Eibusher. Not just self-serving. Not just, oh, I'm a better davener. Or I learn more Torah because I'm smarter than you. It's davening because that creates that level of bittul to turn to Hashem at every single point in our lives. So I want to bench everybody that the same way this cute, adorable, and expensive little machine is in our hands a ginormous amount of the time, Hashem should bench us, that we should have the awareness that this connects us to people. I didn't bring my sitter, I like it. But sitter, picture it here, connects us to the Eibusher. And if we only have our sitter in our hands, looking at it, touching it, flipping through the pages as much as we flip through this thing, we would be in a much better place. So Hashem should bench us, that we should connect to the Alter Rebbe. We just had the most incredible Tanya share, and we should take it to a whole new level, that it should affect us. B'gashmis, in our material struggles, b'ruchnias, in our spiritual struggles, and it should bring us through simcha to the greatest level of connecting to Hashem, and through that, we should do it through davening. L'chaim. L'chaim. Awesome. Good Yom Tov, everybody.
Good job.